Hello students, and welcome back to class. In this video, we'll continue practicing our fraction problems. Why do we practice them so much? Because practice makes perfect. Many of you are now doing these problems in your head, and that's fine. That's what we want. All you need to do for your homework, write the problem down, put the answer next to it. How do we get that answer? Well, we keep the common denominator, and then it's 4 times 6 plus 7. 4 times 6 is 24. 24 plus 7, 31. Got it. To change an improper fraction into a mixed number, we keep the denominator, and then think, how many times does 3 divide into 28? That goes in 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 from 28 leaves a remainder of 1. Again, show no work if you can. Do it in your head, but write the problem down along with your answer. When we multiply fractions, we like to do some reducing first. Look for any numerator and any denominator that can reduce. I'm looking at the 8 and the 12. Those are both divisible by 4. Divide by 4, divide by 4. If nothing else reduces, then we're ready to multiply. Multiply the numerators, 2 times 1. Multiply the denominators, 9 times 3. There's the best way to show your work for number 3. On number 4, division has an extra step. We copy the first fraction, change division to multiplication, then take the reciprocal of the second fraction. Instead of 7 over 20, we like 20 over 7. Now look for things that reduce. Any numerator with any denominator. I'm noticing 21 and 7. Divide by 7, divide by 7. But look, 20 and 25, those reduce as well. Divide by 5, divide by 5. Now we're ready to multiply. Multiply the numerators, 3 times 4. Multiply the denominators, 5 times 1. That's a great answer for number 4. When we add or subtract fractions, we must have a common denominator. On number 5, what I'm going to notice is that the smaller denominator divides evenly into the bigger denominator. When that happens, the big denominator is a good common denominator. We'll use 24 as a common denominator. To get the numerators, here's the process. What do you multiply times 3 to get 24? We multiply by 8. Then I must multiply the top by 8. What do you multiply times 24 to get itself? Of course, that's 1. We'll multiply the top by 1. Now keep the common denominator and subtract the numerators. That's a great answer. But if you think about it, that can reduce. If you're really on the ball, we'll divide by 3 and divide by 3. 3 over 24 is a good answer. 1 over 8 is a great answer. For number 6, we're adding, which means we need a common denominator. But this time, the small denominator does not divide evenly into the big denominator, so I can't use 20 as a common denominator. I need a number that 15 and 20 both divide into evenly. Can you think of that in your head? If not, let's come down here onto scrap paper and list the multiples of 15. There's 15 times 1, 15 times 2, 15 times 3, 15 times 4, 15 times 5. Do the same thing with 20. There's 20 times 1, 20 times 2, 20 times 3, there it is. 60 is the smallest number that 15 and 20 both divide into. So it works great as a common denominator. Now for the numerators. What do you multiply times 15 to get 60? That's 4. And what do you multiply times 20 to get 60? That's 3. Now for a final answer, we'll keep that common denominator and add the numerators. 8 plus 21, 29 over 60. Beautiful. Now let's remember on these last problems, they have been hand-picked so that when we're finished, there'll be no fractions in our answers. This ends up being a nice tool on equations that we'll use later on today. When we work these problems, we distribute. The 20 gets multiplied here, then the 20 gets multiplied here. Here's the process. When we multiply here, how many times does 20 go into 20? Is 1 time. And 1 times m looks like this. Let's do that again. We multiply here, then here. How many times does 20 go into 20? Is once. 1 times m goes there. Now, how many times does 5 go into 20? Is 4. And 4 times 4, 16. Do these in your head and make sure you end up with no fractions in your answers. Let's try number 8. What's the process? How many times does 20 go into 20? Once. 1 times m goes there. How many times does 5 go into 20? 4. 4 times 4 goes there. How many times does 5 go into 30? 6. 6 times 2 is 12, so 12c. Finally, how many times does 6 go into 30? That's 5. And 5 times 1, 5. Beautiful. All right, your turn to practice. Work some homework. I'll see you later on today.